Imagine a world rampant with disease, hospitals filled with sick and dying people. That would be our world today if vaccinations were never created. Vaccinations are an integral part of today's society. I have been researching the history of vaccinations for a few years now, and I have also written many research papers on the topic. Though the process of vaccination began before Edward Jenner's time, he is considered the father of modern-day vaccinations, and human society has forever been changed due to his research. Though Jenner is rightfully considered the father of modern vaccinations due to his intense research into the topic of variolation, evidence suggests the process actually began as early as 1000 CE. According to the College of Physicians of Philadelphia, the Chinese used variolation to control the spread of smallpox. The practice began with the inoculation of a Chinese statesman's son, where powder from a smallpox scab was blown into the child's nostril. This technique evolved into scratching material from a smallpox scab into the skin, which was supposedly more effective against the disease. This produced a milder version of the disease that was easily survivable and in turn gave the affected an immunity against the more deadly strain. Although the Chinese may have been the first to practice variolation, Edward Jenner is considered the father of the procedure due to his recording and reporting of his scientific findings. Jenner began his research in the late 1790s during the large smallpox outbreak in Europe. Jenner had previously heard rumors that cow maids who had been afflicted with cowpox were immune to smallpox naturally. According to Baylor University medical proceedings, Jenner used matter from a young cow maid's fresh cowpox pustules and inoculated an 8-year-old boy. The child reportedly suffered from a mild fever and some discomfort immediately after the procedure. 9 days later, the child reported that he felt cold and had lost his appetite, but by the next day, all symptoms had subsided. A few months later, Jenner inoculated the boy again, this time with matter from a fresh smallpox pustule, and no symptoms consequently developed. Though Jenner's technique was proven to be extremely effective, many were skeptical of his research. A multitude of religious leaders and common citizens believed this to be God's punishment upon the sinners and that no mortal man could stop it. Inoculation did not become widespread until Lady Mary Wortley Montagu, an English aristocrat, saw the procedure being done on her visit to the country of Turkey. This in turn led to Lady Mary Wortley Montagu convincing the Queen to inoculate her children. According to Kendall A. Smith, this led to an immediate acceptance of the practice and even led to Jenner receiving a lifelong pension from Parliament. This widespread acceptance allowed Jenner to continue his research into variolation and inoculation. This led to the production of the first vaccine. Jenner continued to teach physicians about the process and benefits of vaccinations, with his work a continuation of facts and observations relative to the variolae vaccinae, or cowpox. This publication spread the word of vaccination all throughout the European continent and the United States very rapidly. Jenner devoted the years after his publication to education and performing vaccinations at no cost to those who came to him. As time progressed, the procedure became more and more popular, though it still faced some setbacks. Many physicians who had smallpox inoculation practices detested vaccinations and therefore would not perform the procedure due to money that would be lost. This caused much of the United Kingdom to be split between the process of vaccination and inoculation. Jenner's technique is the foundation for the technique used today, but it has changed slightly to accommodate new societal norms. In Jenner's time, vaccinations were not a required procedure. Today, many public institutions require each child to receive a certain set of vaccinations dependent upon their age. This is to prevent the spread of diseases that have mostly been combated to the point where they are fairly uncommon, such as whooping cough, rubella, etc. Other diseases, such as polio, have been completely eradicated due to the discovery of a vaccine. A study done by the Center of Disease Control showed that in 1999, the estimated national vaccine coverage was 78%, with Kentucky having estimated coverage of 88%. This means that around 78% of people nationally have received particular vaccinations, and 88% of people in the state of Kentucky have received particular vaccinations. Though the requirement of vaccinations is a heavily supported topic, there are some who still believe that vaccinations should not be required in any setting. Some believe there is a link between vaccinations and autism, though this is not scientifically proven. Vaccinations are one of the most important parts of human society. Edward Jenner's contributions are unparalleled to this day. Because of his research, we have evolved into a population that is relatively disease-free to a certain degree. Today's society would be a very different place without the usage of vaccinations. Statistics show that the infection rate of many diseases that used to devastate the country have decreased dramatically due to the introductions of vaccinations. This procedure is one of the pillars of society and is one of the reasons why the human race is able to progress rapidly.